David's a homie.
Hey everyone, it's Bailey from 8 Ounce. I'm interviewing Josh McKenna from Paradigm Spark. We're going to find out what he's doing for the National Brewers Cup.
I am Josh from Paradigm Spark. Yeah.
And what are you doing next weekend?
Next weekend, I'll be competing in the National Brewers Cup in Montreal. I've been in coffee for almost 10 years now. My first job was a volunteer job at a conference center in Southern California. And most of my journey after that's been in Canada and now in Calgary, but that was the initial kind of start. And also the first time I started really drinking coffee. I've been with Paradigm Spark for a few years now. And yeah, it's a great pleasure to work with my boss, David Kim. I used to work with him briefly together at Phil and Sebastian many years ago. So that's how I knew him before the company became Paradigm Spark. And eventually switched over to here from some other cafes in the city. And it's been a great learning experience.
So share with us a moment where you had that aha clarity on specialty coffee when you realized for the first time, I can't believe coffee can taste like this.
Yes, it was at my first job that I had back in California. We were using, I don't know if it exists anymore, but it was called Lift Coffee Roasters from Riverside. And I had my first pour over ever from them. And it was if I remember right, a natural processed, but I don't remember the origin. And it was so clearly like purple grape and milk chocolate flavor. And it was like very early into my coffee career. So immediately knowing coffee can be fruity, as most people have that experience, was pretty like eye-opening. So I wanted to know all the different flavors that coffee could taste like and how to make it taste like that better. And that started my kind of intellectual kind of pursuit of how to improve coffee.
Right. But it doesn't have to just be like gas station or diner coffee. It can be something like so much more brilliant, fruity, and delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I was quite lucky too that I didn't grow up drinking coffee or really have coffee before this too. So all this like specialty experience was the first like introduction to me. So I kind of had like from nothing to, oh my God, fruity coffee. And then it's been nice since then.
Nice. So that's just your baseline. It's just delicious coffee, and then you can only get up from here.
Yeah, I don't want anything else.
Yeah.
Don't give it to me.
Perfect.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be good at brewing coffee. And this will be my third year competing in this competition. And I want to keep improving and eventually hopefully win. But it's an exciting competition that doesn't take too much investment, but because most of my free time with coffee brewing at home is already like filter coffee and pour overs, it's kind of the natural fit for me because it's my main interest.
So what are you doing now? Anything different than your normal routine to prepare for the competition coming up in a few weeks?
Yeah, I don't think anything too new this year aside from extra practice. I've had a lot of free time this year since the cafe opening here was a bit delayed. So it's been a routine I've been working on quite long with just some last minute changes the last couple weeks. So just lots of presentation practice and decision making on what exactly I need to serve.
Do you have any favorite coffees that you've worked with so far?
I think the one I'm currently going to serve the judges is one of the best coffees we've had this year. It's not currently on the menu because we saved some just in case we need it for the competition.
Will it be on the menu eventually after the competition?
If there's any leftover from my practice, we will sell it. Yeah, it's limited quantity.
And when it comes to your routine on the day, for as much as you can tell us, what is the one thing that you're most excited to showcase to the judges, to the audience?
I think my brewing recipe and kind of showcasing how the techniques we use at Paradigm Spark have been implemented into the routine for a more cafe service experience. I love Paradigm Spark because of the way we implement certain techniques to make coffee taste better for how we enjoy coffee and for the customers. I think we're one of the only cafes in the world that pre-grind and degas all of our coffees we serve. And that's really unique to us and makes tasty coffee. If we grind coffee and store them in small airtight containers, usually, it allows trapped carbon dioxide to escape before brewing, which kind of reduces harshness and texture and flavor and improves consistency across the cups.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious about this whole setup too, because it feels like it facilitates a lot of learning. So was that kind of part of the vision as well for Paradigm, to be more of a community focus or more inviting space to be in?
Yes, we definitely want to be hosting more like community events here, but as well, especially David himself is doing a lot of education here in the training space we have. And yeah, there's one of the things we like to share and give back. None of our knowledge is necessarily kept secret. We share all our pour over recipes as an example. Everything's pretty open, and we want to continue driving the community forward. More accessible and yeah, less gatekeepy.
Yes.
I don't know. We're pretty open with what we do.
So you've been in the Brewers Cup before in various respects. So can you talk to me about your experience as a competitor versus some other experiences you might have had in past years?
Yeah, I started my competition career as a Brewers Cup judge. It was the first competition I was a part of and the first thing I judged. It was, I think, 2019, so it's been 7 years now, 6 years, can't count. I really loved judging. Judging was a big part of what I enjoyed about coffee, and I knew eventually I would switch to competing. I just didn't know how long it would take. And they are quite different experiences and both quite stressful, actually. They're both fun at the same time. I think now, as a competitor who really wants to win, I think I have a bit more fun just trying to elevate each year. This will be my third year competing in a row now, and from being in the finals the previous 2 years as well, there's a lot of pressure to kind of find room for improvement, but I like the challenge. But the difference in judging and competing, it's quite different, but both exciting.
How has being a judge colored your idea of competing?
I think it gives a lot of background information on what the judges are looking for and a higher understanding of the score sheet. I think as rules and regulations change each year, it's a bit harder to compare my past judging years to this because it's changed so much. But it definitely gives you an idea of what can score higher, what's not needed at all, that a lot of competitors think is really important to talk about, and just really refining everything to have a purpose.
So there are a lot of tasting cups out there, and we just happen to have the one that you're using for your brewer set. Would you mind telling me a bit about this, unboxing it for me, walking me through what makes it so special compared to every other tasting cup out there?
Yeah. So I already loved Hario products, and when I found out that they had a curved shape sensory cup, I was already quite fascinated by it. I think the two important things about this cup that I like are the curved shape with the bulging body here at the bottom, as well as the two lip type situation at the top. I personally really like drinking from the thinner side of the lip. It has a bit more clarity and flavor. And when you're drinking from this side, the other side has this kind of hood for your nose. So when you lift it up, your nose goes a bit more inside the cup and lets you get closer to the surface of the coffee. So the aroma intensity is a bit higher.
And would it be more advantageous for some circumstances to drink from one side versus the other? I know when coffee cools down, it kind of starts to taste a bit different. So is there a technique?
Yeah, I think it can be. And I think it might depend on the coffee as well. I think for the coffees I've been using, the thinnest side has been the nicest tasting, but as it cools, the thicker side has been nice to get a bit more juicy, kind of heavier body, but the coffee I'm using is a bit heavy anyways, so the thin side kind of highlights both sides. I think when I found out Hario had one of these curved design cups, I knew I needed to have it, but I already liked other cups of this similar shape already, so it was just more fitting this one into my current routine. And the added benefit of the aroma just kind of pops. But it's still only a few weeks ago decision, but it's something I'm really excited about.
So we've heard about you and your journey. Now I'm interested to know about all the gear you're planning to use for your set. So let's head on over and take a look.
Okay guys, let's start talking about some of the equipment I'll be using for the National Brewers Cup next weekend. So first up that I want to talk about is the Fellow Stag EKG kettle. It's the kettle we use at the cafe and the personal kettle I have at home as well. So I'm very familiar with it. I know it so much. It's my favorite kettle. It's really good for different pouring speeds, exact measurements, which is what I need for my brewing recipe. My favorite brewer is the Hario V60 switch. We also use this for all the pour overs at the cafe as well. It's super easy to use, but also very technical if you want it to be. The switch here on the side can be up or down to steep the coffee with the water. The added immersion we find in each pour gives a bit more sweetness and body to our coffees. It's an essential tool for me in the competition to stand out from other competitors. We talked about this before already, but I'll be using these Hario Curve sensory tasting cups. I really like these for two main reasons. The unique curved design here with the bulging body helps capture coffee's aromatic compounds down to the kind of middle portion of the cup. And the two different types of lips on the rim here provide two different tasting experiences. With the coffee, I'm using this thin side here as the clearest expression of flavor. And then when you're drinking from this side, this hood here is a perfect spot for your nose to get closer to the surface of the coffee. So the intensity of the aroma is also increased that way. Now, for something I want to talk about as well is the grinder I'll be using for open service this year. It is the Fellow Ode Gen 2. It's also the grinder we use at the cafe, but this is my personal ode I have at home. It's super familiar to me, great grind size distribution, and something that's really easy for me to use. So I'll be using it again this year.
Are there any specific features that you like on the Ode? Like anything special about it?
Not necessarily. It just does everything great. Yeah, there's no problems with it. It's fast, it's consistent. And especially for me, taking this grinder to Montreal is, because it's so big, it's not necessarily what I want to be doing. So I will be using it here and pre-grinding and storing all the coffees in small airtight containers. And so I'll have the exact condition of my coffee kind of stabilized here, and then I'll take those to Montreal. So some other smaller accessories that I'll be using as well are these tiny mini dipper black spoons. They match the color of my other equipment greatly, which is the main reason why I chose them. I will be stirring the coffees for the judges since I'll be doing a bypass method. And then I'll be putting them into these Fellow, I think they're Joeys, Fellow Joeys, and also color matching. And yeah, they're nothing too special, but they're a key presentation piece for me for my table setup.
Okay, so thank you for sharing everything with us, Josh, today. This was really insightful. We really appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to say closing out to our viewers?
Yeah, just thanks again for watching and seeing all the equipment I'm using. And if you're in Calgary, come check out Paradigm Spark and come see me. Until then, happy brewing.